Hi everyone, Heidi Smith here from Flutter by Heidi, and today I'm talking Forever Fern, a lovely stamp set that's got sentiments and images in it using this beautiful foliage effect, and these are distinctive stamps, so they give a fabulous amount of detail. And now in my original sample I did use one of the sentiments from this, but I decided that actually I wanted to make a birthday card, so I'm going to use the happy birthday from this Here's a Card, another really good staple to have in your stash, just because it's a bit of fun as well, because we've got some standard congratulations, happy birthday, thanks, but you know, I'm here if you need me, which I think is a really useful one. Thank you for being my friend. You know, I can't begin to count the times we've laughed together, you know, as well as happy birthday, but you know, it's all messy, the hair, the house, the heart, life. You know, there's some really fun ones in there as well as the standard ones, which I think make that a little bit different. So the card I'm making today is this one here, and I'm just using vellum to create a softness about it. So you can see I've got a vellum layer which has actually been embossed using our lovely new cut and emboss folders, and this comes as a pair. You've got this sort of floral image as well as a floral foliage image, which gives a blank piece top and bottom, and a really detailed leaf image as well. So I'm using this one here today, and I'm also using some lovely gold thread which comes in a combo pack with this other thread here in the same suite, so a lovely soft ribbon, and this one is just a bit, it's a bit thicker than Baker's, it's not as thick as Baker's twine, but it's a bit thicker than linen thread, so it does make lovely loops. So we're going to use a little bit of that, and as I say, I've used the embossing folder on vellum and then just wrapped it around to so that you don't have problems with making that adhere to it. And then finally, those little banners are using our fabulous new lovely labels Pick a Punch. So you've got two designs of ends that you can see. I've used the same one here, the other one's slightly more fancy, and you can do 3 widths, so 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch and inch in each of those, so really versatile punch as well. Okay, so shall we get started? Oh yes, Coastal Cabana, and this one is Bermuda Bay. I decided to go with the Coastal Cabana on this next one. I like slightly lighter effect of that, but obviously, you know, both of them are really really pretty. So there we go, and let's get started. So to start off with then, you're going to need to create yourself a tent fold card base. So this is 29 by 10.5 centimetres, scored at 14.5 to create our card base. Then you need a layer of, so I've used the Coastal Cabana, and that's 14 by 10 centimetres. And we're just going to stamp that with the same image that we're using on the main part, using our Coastal Cabana. So this is just to create that edge on our cards. So I'm just coming in and just repeat stamping down both sides. Pop that to one side. That's ready. And while I'm doing that, I'm actually going to use that same image on the inside of my card as well. I'm just turning it so I don't have the stem showing, so just a little bit of fun there. And at the same time, if I'd got an envelope handy, I would be doing my envelope as well as dropping the ink pad. Thank goodness I'd moved my projects. Okay, so now we want our piece of Whisper White. Now this is narrower, so these new embossing folders are to fit the mini embossing machine, which will be available soon. So this is 8.5 centimetres wide, that's the width of the new machine. So these will fit they'll fit in a standard machine anyway. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, with the folder, when you look at it, the leaves are slightly longer on the left and going shorter, so I'm going to go long on the right to short. Or no, I might echo that one actually. Yeah. So my longest leaf here, just coming up slightly, and again, and repeat that at the bottom. And that just allows it to kind of peek through with a little sort of slightly different effect. While I've got my ink pad open, I'm going to just grab a scrap of Whisper White and stamp my image. This is red rubber, so you don't need to use your stamping pierce mat for this. Just pop it on a piece of our Whisper White here, and then obviously if you haven't got the dies, that's okay, you can cut it, you can fussy cut this one out, but there is a die which coordinates. And with these dies, if you've got a magnetic plate, that's great because that will hold that in place while you cut it out. If not, then a bit of washi tape is a really useful trick to use. Okay, so there's our die cut shape. I'll pop that to one side as well. I've also die cut using one of the accent dies. So in these, if I show you the dies, not only do you have ones that cut out all of the leaves, but you've got these lovely accent pieces. So there's a big fern leaf here, like a laurel wreath, and some others. So you can cut out other bits to go with your project as well. So that's my fern leaf that I'm going to use. And then the next thing is to just lightly, we're going to create our vellum panel. So I've taken a piece of vellum that is 15.5 by 8.5, and I'm just lightly scoring at 1 centimetre at both ends. Don't score too hard with the vellum, otherwise you will find it will crack. But what I'm going to do is gently just fold that over and reinforce that with my bone folder. Okay. So just fold that, and it's really strong vellum this, but like all vellum, it doesn't take to being scored too heavily. So I might just, and I'm just going to check that that's actually going to go over my panel, because the idea is that that is going to, there we go. So I'll just reinforce that. I've actually gone a bit heavily on that one, but not to worry, it won't matter for this. So I'm going to pop that now into my embossing folder. Now these are a standard weight of embossing folder, standard sort of thickness embossing folder. So all you need to do is pop it on your platform, one plate and then the other one, to pop that through your big shot, which I'll just do now. Remembering to put the crease, the folded bit, through first. So there we go. One panel. So that is just going to be glued to the reverse of my white card, and I'm going to use some red tape for this. Vellum can be a little bit tricky to glue, so all I'm going to do is just put a piece of, decide which side I'm going to use, and add it to the reverse. That's always a good plan. I almost do it the wrong way around. And by adding a layer of vellum, it just softens the overall effect, as well as using the embossing folder gives a great level of texture. One other way you could do it is if you didn't like having it wrapped around, or if you accidentally cut through it, that's not a problem, because what you can do then is actually, I'll show you, you can adhere it behind the sentiment. So nothing is, in fact, I think I might be doing that myself. Let's go. So just keep it square and flat and fold over at the top there. If you get any bits poking out where mine has just cracked, just cut that. There we go. There we go. There's our nice panel. So if we bring our card in, we can add our layer just using ordinary glue, whatever you happen to have to hand. I've got some what was snail, waiting for my new Stampin' seal to arrive. Make sure you're putting it on the front of your card and your card's opening the right way. Wouldn't be the first time, but there you go. And then this panel is just going to sit on there as well. So I'm just going to add some glue to the top and the bottom again. So we can just add that in there. Red tape is great when I want to do a nice firm bond, or here where I've got a layer. So I'm just going to make sure that my sides are stuck down well, because they're sort of slightly recessed from where I've got that fold of vellum. Okay, so that is just going to centre onto our background panel. Okay. Next I'm going to create my layers. So I want my vellum pieces and my leaf, and all I'm going to do is just snip here and these two here. And I'm just going to add those behind that main leaf. So again, I can just come in with some ordinary adhesive there and add those leaves like so. It's a really irritating fly. Hopefully you can't hear it, but so that's going to go onto the side here, and then I'm going to use my layer of Whisper White, and I'm just going to cut a strip that's 1 inch long by about sort of 2 3/4 inches, 1 inch wide I should say, so 2.5 centimetres by 2 3/4, so sort of 7 centimetres. And I'm going to punch that first. It just pops into that wider slot. You can see there's a channel at the top there. So it's the highest one, so you just have to hold it in place and punch. Punching both edges of both of these, and I'm taking a piece of Coastal Cabana that's just 1/4 centimetre, so this is a 3 inch piece. There we go. And all that's left to do is grab my sentiment and layer that up. And then create some loops with my thread. So if I pop this on flat with some adhesive, and again just centre that, and the easiest way I find is to centre it on one of the edges. So there we go. Then I'm going to put some glue on the back here, just to create some loops of thread, really easy, and then just pop those on the back there. Trim away any excess. This does fray very easily, which is lovely if you want that, but it does mean that you occasionally get some extra little bits, as I've just done there where I haven't quite cut through. And then once you've done that, then just, you can always lift that up and spread them out a little bit by using something like a snail that's fairly forgiving. You can get some nice looped effects, and then it's just going to be dimensionals. So I'm going to use my bigger dimensionals, so standard size ones on the back there, and they then have the double effect of holding that thread in place. Then we can add again a dimensional or two to the back here as well. And then all that remains is for me to now just layer that up by putting our leaves on first, so that they don't come too far off the side of the card. Want to make sure it doesn't get damaged when you put it in an envelope. And then just add our happy birthday. I'm actually going to pop that down a little bit lower. And use my scissors to just tuck that out of the way. So there we go. A happy birthday card using the Forever Greenery Suite, the lovely embossing folders, and a piece of vellum just to soften the look of those leaves and add some texture. So I hope I've inspired you with these projects. Pop along to my blog if you'd like to make a purchase. I'd love to have you as one of my customers. Customers mean that I can provide these videos free of charge for you, so please do continue and come back and see me soon. Bye for now.